The smell of vanilla filled the small kitchen. Martha took the cake out of the oven, placed it gently on the counter, and looked at the clock. It was 7:45 p.m. Any minute now, someone would call, or text, or at least send a message. She wiped her hands on her apron. 62 today. She smiled softly. Not bad, she thought, for someone who still remembers how to bake without a recipe. The phone on the table stayed silent. For 20 years, she had baked birthday cakes for everyone else. Her husband, her children, even her neighbors. Chocolate for Daniel, her son. Strawberry for Lily, her daughter. Vanilla for her late husband, Paul. But no one had ever baked one for her. She told herself it didn't matter. She liked baking anyway. At 9 o'clock, she lit a single candle on the cake and waited a few more minutes. The candle dripped slowly, a tear of wax sliding down the side. She laughed quietly to herself. Well, I guess it's just me again. Her phone buzzed. Her heart jumped. A message. It was from her phone company. Your bill is due tomorrow. That was when it hit her. Not anger, not sadness, but something deeper, a hollow calm. She cut a small slice, placed it on a plate, and whispered, "Happy birthday, Martha." Then, something she hadn't done in years. She sat down and ate without waiting for anyone. When she finished, she washed the dishes, put on her coat, and stepped outside. The night air was cold, crisp, and alive. Across the street, a cafe still had its lights on. She had passed it 100 times but never gone in. It was always too late, too busy, or too silly to eat cake alone. But tonight, she wasn't alone. She was with herself. She pushed open the door. The young waitress looked up and smiled. "Good evening, ma'am. Table for one." Martha smiled back. "Yes, please. For one." She ordered tea and a small slice of lemon pie, laughing softly at the irony. The waitress brought it with a sparkler candle on top. "It's on the house," she said. "You look like you could use a little celebration." Martha blinked back tears. "Thank you," she whispered. She spent the rest of the evening watching people come and go, listening to music, feeling for the first time in years, completely free of waiting. When she got home, she opened her notebook, the one she used for recipes, and wrote a new list on a blank page. Things I'll do for myself. 1. Enroll in the art class I always wanted. 2. Travel somewhere alone. 3. Stop expecting calls that never come. 4. Bake a cake every year just for me. She smiled as she closed the notebook. The candle from her earlier cake had melted into a soft pool of wax. The flame was gone, but the warmth remained. And that night, as she drifted to sleep, Martha realized something simple but powerful. Being forgotten by others had finally helped her remember herself. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the kitchen window. Martha woke up, without the usual rush of checking her phone, no new messages, no missed calls, and for once, she didn't care. She brewed coffee, opened the curtains wide, and sat down by the window. The city was waking up, but for Martha it felt like something else had just begun. She pulled her notebook closer, the one where she had written her new list the night before. She looked at the first line: enroll in the art class I always wanted. She had loved painting as a girl. Her mother used to say she could turn a blank page into a sunrise, but life had gotten in the way: marriage, children, bills, responsibilities. Art had been the first thing she gave up. Not anymore. Martha opened her laptop and searched community art classes near me. She found one starting the following week: beginners watercolor for adults. She smiled, clicked register, and paid the fee without hesitation. That afternoon, she went to the bookstore and bought a small set of paints, brushes, and a pad of watercolor paper. As she walked home with a bag in her hand, she felt lighter, like she was finally carrying something that belonged only to her. A week later, the first class was small, just 6 people: a retired accountant, a young teacher, a florist, and an older man who kept making everyone laugh. The instructor, a kind woman named Rose, welcomed them warmly. Remember, Rose said, there's no such thing as a mistake in art, there's only expression. Martha hesitated. At first, her hand trembled slightly as she touched the brush to the paper, but the moment the colors spread, a soft blue melting into white, something inside her loosened. By the end of the class, her heart was calm for the first time in a long while. She wasn't thinking about anyone else's happiness. When she got home, she hung her first painting on the fridge. It wasn't perfect, but It was hers 2 months later. Martha's life had quietly shifted. Every Tuesday evening was for painting. Every Thursday morning she walked to
the cafe.
The next morning, sunlight spilled through the kitchen window. Martha woke up without the usual rush of checking her phone. No new messages, no missed calls. And for once, she didn't care. She brewed coffee, opened the curtains wide, and sat down by the window. The city was waking up, but for Martha it felt like something else had just begun. She pulled her